Today we are going to follow around my friend Jessie as she shows us her garden. And I am sure by the end of the tour, you're gonna find her just as charming as her garden.
My name is Jessica Rodriguez, and this is our family garden. Not just family, we also share this garden with other family members and also some close neighbors of ours. We started our garden a little over 3 years ago. It started with a simple raised bed and has then grown and turned into what I'm fixing to show you. So let's go take a look. One of the first things that you're gonna see is the arbor that was, this was actually my husband's idea for an entrance to our garden. We typically will vine our cucumbers up over the arbor. By the end of summer, they'll have covered the whole arbor, simply bull panel. It's not even nailed or screwed. It just rests right in there. Here's one of our newest beds. This bed was built last spring and last summer. This is where we would compost all of our plants, our weeds, our grass clippings. We let it break down throughout the winter, grind it up, add some more mulch in there. When you're doing raised beds, it's really good idea to at least get it 6, if not 12 inches. So all of our raised beds are 12-inch beds. You can go deeper. What I wouldn't do is I would not go any shallower than 6-inch mark. We have volunteer dill, comes back year after year. Use it, we let it bloom, and then I will simply shake the seeds back into the soil. Next year, I'll have this much and or more dill. Red cabbage. And if you notice, this bed is a north-facing bed. So your colder crops are gonna do really well on the north side of a bed. These are red cabbage, which is gonna be a cold crop. A couple of these heads are getting really close to harvest. This is just a rose bush. This bush was actually already here when we purchased the property. She requires little to no attention. I will cut back the dead, let the new grow, and we just kind of go from there. One thing that I really wanted when we were building and designing our garden is kind of a space to sit and relax and just take it all in. This will, probably not this year, probably next year, we're going to create a pergola over this area, which will provide some shade so we can sit out here in the summertime and just watch the garden grow. Potatoes, potatoes, potatoes. These 2 beds of potatoes were planted early March, and we have been harvesting potatoes for the past 3 weeks. My kids absolutely love coming out to the garden, kind of move the vines around. What you're looking for is any kind of cracks or bumps in your soil. You just take the soil, just kind of rake it back. Kids may have already gotten them. Oh man, look at that one. Get underneath it, pull it up from its tuber, just snap it off right there, and you have potato. So we will grow potatoes starting in March. We will continue to harvest these for meals, incorporate them into our lunches and our dinners all summer long. In the fall, when the vines will die back, then we will harvest all the potatoes that are growing underneath here, put them on drying racks, dry them, and store them and we'll eat them all winter long. Each bed in the center of the garden is a 8x4 bed, 12 inches deep. So 8x4 by 12. This is kale. My kids love kale salads, kale chips. We do kale and eggs in the morning. Kale, kale, kale. We are a kale loving family. Here on the other side of the kale bed is where we had the black Simpson and red romaine back in early spring, probably mid-March is when we planted by seed. This lettuce has probably been cut 7 or 8 different times, which by this time in the year, it becomes a little bitter, and it either needs to be composted or cut up, chopped up and given to our chickens. Broccoli is fun. Broccoli is very fun and very easy to grow. We will usually get 2 to 3 harvests off of our broccoli. You're gonna have your main broccoli crown, which grows here in the center. And once you cut your main broccoli crown, you will notice smaller shoots, which you can tell that we've cut that one off. You'll have your smaller shoots that come up. And as long as the temperatures stay low and the ground stays moist, you will get 2nd or 3rd cuttings off your broccoli. Here's one that probably needs to be cut. The broccoli is almost done for the year. Most of these plants will come out, they'll be composted or used as chicken food. This one right here, I'm going to leave him. He's starting to flower. I'm gonna try to see if it reseeds itself. Once these flowers develop, we'll see. I may have some fall broccoli crops. Here behind us, oh my goodness, our peas. Our peas have done so good this year. And last year we had them planted on the opposite side of the garden. We didn't have as good of a crop over there, so we tried to plant them over here. Someone told me that lettuce is a really good companion for peas. So underneath our peas, you'll see where we planted our romaine. This is a head that he is ready to go. Maybe salad tonight. Peas require very little moisture, where lettuce requires a lot. So where the lettuce is soaking up all the moisture, the peas do really well. The peas also provide shade for the lettuce, which extends the growing season for the lettuce. This is gonna be your mustard greens, this with these beautiful yellow flowers. We ate greens, another one of my kids' favorites. We had mustard greens just the other night, actually. And then your traditional collard greens. One of my favorite things to do with the garden is incorporate different herbs. This plant is actually the sage plant that was really struggling last summer. I dug him up this spring, planted him over here, and he's done so well. Sage is just so fragrant. With your herbs, a lot of the times, they will naturally deter pests from your vegetables, which to me is 1,000 times better than having to use any kind of pesticides on your vegetable garden. If the pests are gonna eat it, let the pests eat it. What I won't let happen is I won't let my kids eat the pesticide. So if the pests want the vegetables, the pests can have them. We try everything that we can to make sure that we deter the pests for as long as possible. And then we have our lovely bed of carrots, which carrots grow at a very slow rate. These won't be ready to harvest until probably late fall. Down here is our onion bed. We grow a bed of these onions every single year. And I cannot tell you the last time I bought an onion in the store. When you're looking for an onion for dinner, I want to come down. We're going to look at the size of the onion bulb and determine on whether or not he would be a good size for dinner. we use our onions, we randomly pull and thin them throughout the summer using the onion. And then in the fall, we'll harvest the remaining onions, hang them up, cure them, dry them, and store them for all winter's use. So we've been doing, this is our 3rd year with an onion bed, and I don't think I've bought an onion from the store in 3 years. So it's the one bed, and we're a household of 5. And we share a lot too with our neighbors and our friends. I've got some pole beans starting to grow, and before I know it, I'll be canning beans. This bed is devoted solely to parsnips. I love parsnips. We started with some heirloom parsnip seeds a few years ago, and I have let them come back every year. We will let it reseed itself, and I'm hoping that when it reseeds itself, it seeds this entire bed, and next year we will have a whole bed full of parsnips that we can harvest. I'm very new at growing parsnips. I remember growing up and eating them and digging them out of my grandmother's garden. So I was really excited when we got the parsnip seeds to try them. So stay tuned. Hopefully next spring we have a whole bed full of parsnips. Again, I talk a lot about herbs, and you will find different herbs in all 4 corners of my garden and scattered throughout the entire garden, because I firmly believe that this is rosemary will help deter some of those pests. This little bed was supposed to be my pepper bed. Again, it's got all the dill. I obviously had dill here last year. And it looks like maybe a volunteer pumpkin is coming back. I would say I weed about every 2 weeks. We've had a really rainy season this year, and so the weeds have kind of gotten away from me. We've also just been working on different projects. This is my therapy time. This is where I come to just get my hands dirty and just do something that will provide nourishment for my family. And it gives me an opportunity to get out of the house, get the kids out of the house, and get them involved. This is cilantro. Cilantro that we have harvested twice this season. It reseeds itself. It comes back every single year, a little bigger and a little thicker. You know, we've harvested this twice. We will come out in as early as February, as soon as really the temperatures get somewhere stable above 32 degrees. It starts to come out, and we'll cut it twice before summer. On the 3rd time, we let it grow and reseed itself. All of these, which are, once they turn black, get ripe, the seeds, you can harvest them as coriander, or just reseed it back into the soil. Then this fall, we'll have another round of cilantro. We cut it and freeze it. When the tomatoes are ripened and ready, we'll pull the cilantro out of the freezer when we make salsa. So this little corner of the garden, we hatched some baby chicks the beginning of the year, and we were incorporating their droppings and their shavings into the soil over here. These sunflowers, and I'm not really sure what, I mean, it looks like corn. I'm just gonna let it grow. You know, I'm gonna see what it turns into, because why not? This is our asparagus. It's going on year 2. You do not want to harvest your asparagus until at least, I believe, year 3. This is one of my zucchini plants. I like to use tomato cages to trellis my zucchinis. To me, it helps with vine borers, and it helps keep those leaves up off of the ground, which if you've ever had an infestation of squash bugs, you'll notice that squash bugs tend to go for the leaves that are lying on the ground. And we've had less vine borers and less squash bugs using tomato cages around our squash. Tomatoes in between some beans, which are, this is a bush bean. I showed you on the other side of the garden, we've got some pole beans going. This is a bush bean. We will be picking beans before no time on these bush beans. We had such a good strawberry growing season last year. We only had this strawberry bed. The kids love coming out here early spring and, you know, really all through the spring and picking strawberries straight off the vines. All of these plants will produce runners, which is what you're seeing coming off. Each runner will develop a root system. You just take that runner, put him in some soil, and voila, you have a strawberry plant. Few of those, and you will fill an 8x4 bed in no time. And this is a fig tree that I honestly didn't know if he was going to come back. We're thinking about digging him up and relocating him to another location just because he has really struggled here. One thing that I feel has worked really well with doing raised bed gardening is using compost. We make our own compost from our chickens. We also have a neighbor who has dairy cows, and we will collect her compost, break that down, and incorporate that into our raised beds every year. Usually around November, December is when we will start really mulching and composting our beds. Turn them over in the springtime before we start planting. Also, close planting helps keep the weeds down so that you're not out here having to pull all the weeds. If you can get a good canopy of foliage, you're not gonna have a lot of weeds that grow underneath. You're always gonna have weeds, but you won't have as many weeds. And that, my friends, concludes a little tour of our garden. I hope that some of the information was beneficial. I hope you enjoy the video. If you do have any questions, please feel free to ask. If you have any questions about the plants that we grow or how we companion plant, the beds, the structure of the garden itself, I would be happy to share that with you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.